What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Chris Gunther Show. Thank y'all so much for watching. Remember to like and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. My special guest today needs no introduction, so I'm going to just go ahead and toss it over to her. Without any further ado, the Chris Gunther Show welcomes the queen of comedy, Miss Monique. How you doing today?
I am fine, Mr. Chris Gunther. Thanks so much for having me, brother.
I just appreciate you for taking this time out. It's definitely been in the works for the last couple of years, so I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, it has. When I tell you, you have stayed consistent, persistent, and I appreciate it, baby. That's how you get it done.
Yes, ma'am. And, talking about consistency, you've been consistent with so much in your entire career. Where did you being consistent come from? Like, how did it all start for you?
You know what? I think, Chris, we forget what we were taught as kids. We forget. Don't get bullied. Always stand up. Don't tell no lies. Don't steal. So I've never let go of those things. I've never let go of those principles, those morals, those values. So when you hold on to that, you have no choice but to be consistent.
Absolutely. I've learned that firsthand just in the, small amount of time I've been in this business. You'll encounter a lot of people. Take me back through your upbringing, a native of Baltimore, Maryland. Like what was it like growing up there?
I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. I used to say the baby. And when I started going to therapy some years ago, the therapist would say, well, who's the baby? And I would say, I'm the baby. And she would say, well, do you realize how old you are? I would say, yeah. She said, so you're the youngest. I said, okay, sugar, for that $300 I'm paying you, I will be the youngest. Okay. So I just start saying the youngest sibling.
I wonder if my sister's watching that because they constantly call me the baby of the family. I'm the youngest of 3. So
they can say you're the baby. You can't say it. Okay. Because we got to let them know we mature. So
exactly.
We're the youngest. Okay. But, just growing up with my siblings, 2-parent family, which really didn't make too much of a difference because it could have been a single-parent family, really, for the upbringing that it was. I was a very loud child. I was very outspoken then too, Chris. So I didn't have a lot of friends as a child. Damn it, they didn't like me then either. It just came right with me.
But look what came out of it, though. You go on to have a phenomenal career. Speaking about Baltimore, we got a few more Baltimore comics who are doing incredible. One of them actually is your nephew, Desi, who I see is doing incredible. Huge shout out to him and, just hilarious, who I'm a huge fan of. Huge shout out to her. Like anytime I'm around and they show me nothing but love. How great does it feel for you as somebody that's an OG in this game to see 2 people from your hometown really elevating and succeeding?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch where you came from, and then you watch those that came up after you and they're doing so well. That's a beautiful thing. But I can't just leave it to Baltimore. It's beautiful to see these young babies coming up from all over the world doing their thing, and when they say to me, you're an OG, you auntie, that's such an honor, and I don't just get that from babies in Baltimore. It's an honor to get it from babies that's all over the world, so you take pride in a baby saying, I watched you when I was a kid and you were a part of the reason why I do what I do. So it's an honor.
It has to be such an honor to see people want to follow in your footsteps as well. Even though I'm only 26, I'll be 27 in a couple of weeks. I grew up on you watching Comic View, watching Moesha, and of course the Parkers. What was it like for you to be a part of such an iconic time, especially in comedy?
Chris, I wish that this generation could experience that time because it was a great time. Everybody was pulling and rooting for everybody because it was so much Blackness, baby. Listen, I remember when we had the Parkers, and on that set, on that lot, it was the Parkers, it was Moesha, it was the Wayans brothers. So can you imagine what Sunset and Gower look like, baby, on a Thursday night? So it was those times, it was being that comedian when you had to get in your car and drive around this country to go make $25, $30, but you knew you didn't know that audience. You know, during that time, it was, and I guess it's a thing for this time too, but for the time that I was in those moments, it felt like magic. It felt like, wow, this is really real. And for people that I looked up to and I saw on TV, I get a chance to be in the same rooms with them and having dinner with them and lunch with them. And it was just a very magical moment.
In terms of the magical moments that you have had, you know, especially back then at that time period, did you anticipate the things that you were working on back then will go on to have such a lasting impact that they have?
No, I was in the moment. I was so in the moment, baby, that I didn't say to myself, I wonder if the Parkers will still be on TV 20 years from now, because I was in the moment. I didn't say to myself when we were doing the Queens of Comedy, I wonder if this will make history and be the biggest successful female tour in the world. You didn't think about it then, you were just in the moment. Now to be 20, 25, 30 years later, and those moments be so special and so important, I'm just proud to be a part of those moments.
I'm proud that I grew up watching your stuff. You know, like I grew up watching you on Moesha and the Parkers. Take me back through that experience, because a lot of people, you know, thought that was just going to be like a one-time thing. You appear on Moesha once and that's it, but they can, you know, continue to have you come on. Then they gave you your own show. So take me back through that journey.
Well, actually, when I came on Moesha, that's because there was the Parkers. People just didn't know that there was the Parkers yet. They were just introducing the character through Moesha. So we actually shot the pilot for the Parkers inside of Moesha.
Wow.
So that's when you met Kim's mother. Chris, that was, again, it was this little fat Black girl from Baltimore, Maryland, walking in her dream. And when I met Countess Vaughn, it was such a chemistry. It was when she walked into that room, when I first met her, that was my child. Like, that was my baby. Make no mistake about it. That would, like, we just talked a few days ago. She still called me mama. That's still my pudding. Like, you know, after all these years. So that moment, I think all they did was change my name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Monique got introduced, but Monique got introduced as Nikki Parker.
Absolutely. What would you say was your favorite moment from the show? Because I know a lot of people are probably going to say it's the last episode, but I want to hear from you. What was your favorite moment from the Parkers?
My favorite, there's so many that's unfair, but one moment that really sticks out. When the Parkers first started, we would get these emails, right? Or memos. They were called memos back then. Okay. And it would say, if you're here for the Parkers, park outside of the gate, right? Well, the memo came to me. So I would park outside of the gate. No one told me anything different. If you're here for the Parkers, park outside the gate. So for about a week, Chris, I done parked outside the gate, walked all the way across the parking lot to the studio, right? Nobody ever said anything to me. One day I'm walking across the parking lot and a brother named James Tripp is driving a golf cart. He said, Monique, what you doing? I said, oh, walking to the studio. He said, what you mean you walking to the studio? I said, oh, I park outside the gate. He bust out laughing and said, why are you parking outside the gate? I said, because the memo said, if you're here for the Parkers, park outside the gate. This baby looked at me so gently and said, can you get in the golf cart, please? Mm-hmm. I said, sure. He drove me over to my parking space right outside the studio door. Wow. With my name on it. Chris, I stood there and cried so hard, baby. I sat down in the parking space. I took pictures because to me, that was the moment. It was like, you here, baby. You got your own parking space outside the studio door.
Because you're from Maryland, you've worked extremely hard. I know they had to be special. Your career continued to blossom, continued to rise. And one of the things that I've always loved about you is that you are genuine and you are pure, but you're also not afraid to speak out on things that you feel is not right. Where did that boldness and that eager to speak out about things come from?
I came here with it. It would be unfair for me to take the credit. That's just the spirit of who I am. I've always been that person. So I'm grateful for the spirit that decided to use this vessel. That's just, I came like that, baby. Like I told you, I've always had a big mouth. This ain't no new stuff. I was getting ready to say sugar, honey, iced tea. This ain't no new stuff. I came. This is, people say to me, where do you get? I came here like that. That's like somebody saying, hi, where did you get being funny? I can't explain that gift. I can't explain that part of me that is just a part of me that I refuse to waver on.
That part of you has touched people literally all around the world. When you are doing your shows and people come up to you and give you hugs and let you know that, you've really blessed them and you've really encouraged them, how fulfilling is that for you?
Well, I feel the same way about them. So we holding on to each other, thanking each other, because those people that sit in front of me in those audiences have no idea how many times I walked on those stages and I was in a very, very, very bad place. They have no idea how many times they were able to laugh with me and not laugh at me. So it's mutual. When we hold on to each other, baby, that's mutual. That's the little girl saying, one day I'm gonna be a star. That's that little girl saying, one day I'm gonna hug people like Patti LaBelle hugged me. So everything they're getting from me, they're giving it, everything they think they're getting from me, I'm getting from them as well.
With everything good, there does come some bad. And you are not the kind of person to hold your tongue on anything, which is what I respect about you. Because a few years ago, you did call out feeling as if you were blackballed in Hollywood, mainly by some of your peers. Where do you stand on that stance now? Do you still feel the same way?
I still feel the exact same way. Not wavering from that stance. It is disappointing and disheartening when people that look like you won't come to the table with you when they know they've wronged you. That's disheartening, but not surprising, because when you know the history of who we are, it's just being repeated. However, I don't know of the ones that stood in it unapologetically to say, I'm not, people say to me oftentimes, Chris, Monique, why don't you just apologize? I only apologize if I've done something wrong. If I've not done anything wrong, that apology would be BS and I would feel fraudulent. So for Oprah, for Tyler, for Lee, for Lionsgate, I'm not going anywhere, because there's some babies coming up behind me that need to know people like y'all and organizations like yours, they need to watch out for. They need to have their eyes wide open.
Would there be any type of chance of reconciliation between you, Mr. Perry, Miss Oprah, and all of those other people? Would there be any chance of you guys reconciling if they would publicly come out and say, you know what, Mo, we were wrong. You were 100% right this entire time when we shouldn't have did that to you?
Of course, because as I said in other interviews, I love them. They're my brothers and sisters. I love them, and not trying to call them out, simply calling them up. I would want the same grace done for me. If I've wronged somebody, I would want the same grace for them to say, listen, you got to be held accountable, but I still love you. I'm not throwing you away. You just have to be accountable. And oftentimes in our community, we've gotten so far removed from accountability. And we've gotten so fearful of losing the bag that we sit back and we watch things happen and we say, what happened to us? We allowed what happened to us happen to us, because we got too afraid to say, that's not right. And I don't care if it's not happening to me. If I see it happening to you and I keep quiet, I'm part of the problem. So when it comes to us, I'm always going to speak out, speak up, speak loudly, because I love us. And I don't love us in the term of people saying, I love y'all. I love you like you mine, baby. And sometimes you got to say the stuff that is unpleasant to the ear, but it'll be good for the heart if you absorb it.
You've done a lot in your career. You've absorbed the good, you've taken in the bad, but you also continue to grow and you continue to push. What advice would you give to those up and coming like myself that are out here grinding, that are out here still trying to catch their big break while also maintaining their integrity?
Well, first, I'm going to say this to you, baby. Stop grinding. Do you know what grinding means?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Look up, tell me what it means.
The definition that I got, it was to work yourself into exhaustion. Now, that could be 100% wrong, but from where I was reading that from, it said that you're working yourself to exhaustion.
Yes. When you look it up and say, grind, you know how the dentist say, don't grind your teeth because you wear them down? See, they give us all these little cliches and things to say, but we don't realize what we're saying. So what I would say to my babies is, don't grind, keep pushing, keep going forward, be unafraid to speak on it, be unafraid to speak up, and don't waver. And your big break has already come. See, we want the bells and whistles. My big break came when I quit my job at MCI. That was my big break. That was my big break, because had I never not quit that job, I would have never known what was around the corner. So that was my big break. As you sit right here, right now, doing this interview, and you say, we waiting for our big break, baby, you in it. You're in it. You're gonna look back on these, and it's preparing you for when you're on whatever platform you think you're supposed to be on. But the questions you've asked me today are amazing. You got right to it. The way you kept driving, it's been damn near 3 years. And I want your listeners to know this. Chris Gunther has got on my damn nerves. I'm going to tell you, baby, this baby wore me down. He said, I'm a getter, but always respectful. You were very patient. You were very professional, but you kept pushing. That's what I appreciate. You kept saying, okay, can we do it this time? Can we do it that time? Can I do it under the water? Can I do it over the seas? Can I do it in the moon? Wherever we can do it, I appreciate that. So what I say to my babies is, keep going and believe when it's impossible to believe.
This has been one of my favorite interviews. Last few questions, because I understand you got to hurry up and get out of here. What projects do you have coming up that the people can look forward to?
Let me tell you, okay? Now, you ready for this one?
Absolutely.
It's probably going to be one of the hardest projects I've ever had to do in my life, but the funnest. My grandbaby is playing soccer, okay? And she ain't the best soccer player out there yet, okay? So I got to get out there with these babies, Chris, and I got to learn how to kick this soccer ball down the field into the goal. That's project number one. Project number two, you ready?
Absolutely.
My grandson is 4 years old, and he just signed up for baseball, okay? And it is my job to let everybody out there know I'm there. It is my job to let every parent out there know that's my grandchild. Yes.
It sounds like how my mama used to do me growing up.
Listen, my older babies, the twins, and Michael, they would say to me, when you came to the games, mommy, everybody knew you was there. I said, you damn right. I'm the cheerleader. Every game is the World Series for me. Every game is the World Series, and every soccer game will be FICA. Isn't that what it's called? The FICA Cup?
FIBA, but it's the same thing.
Thank you, sugar. Okay.
Last few rounds right here. You are actually getting ready to, you're actually on tour right now doing so much. You're coming to Cleveland. And I got to share this story because when I was in the crowd, you had spotted me out, and I've shared this story with people behind the scenes, but this is my first time talking about it publicly. So y'all, Monique seen me and asked me what my name was. And I told her. She was like, the mother effing journalist I'm doing an interview with after this. And that's all I'm going to tell y'all, because the rest of the story is going to stay between us. There we go. Oh, man, this has been so much fun. I've loved every minute of it. I'm trying to get this last question out if I can. I always ask this to my guests. Who would you like to see on the Chris Gunther Show? And if you have any connect, could you possibly be able to help me get them?
Dead or alive?
Alive.
Okay, sugar, because I know some dead asses, baby, that I can get them. They be lining up, though.
Let's get a live ones.
You know who I would like to see on your show? DC Young Fly.
Me too. And God knows I've been trying to get him.
DC Young Fly is very important to this generation because what he did for Nick Cannon was unheard of. And the strength and the pride and the integrity and the dignity that that young Black man had when he turned them down and said, I could never take a job from somebody that gave me a chance. See, I met DC Young Fly really before anybody knew DC Young Fly. And I knew I was sitting next to brilliance. I knew I was sitting next to a king. That young brother is a king. The way he handles himself, carries himself, and he's pure from his heart. So I would love to see you talk with DC Young Fly.
Me too.
I'll do my best.
I appreciate that because that means a lot to me. DC, if you watch and holla at your boy, ladies and gentlemen, nothing else needs to be asked. The queen of comedy, Monique, on the Chris Gunther Show. Monique, thank you so much for your time today.
I love you, sweet baby. You keep going.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all for watching. God bless.